Let's talk about filter upgrades for the small ROs, the reverse osmosis units, 400 gallons a day and under. And that includes an EX400 tall, an EX400, an EX100, 150 or 200, the GX150 or 200, and a GX300 or 400. So all ROs 400 gallons a day and smaller, we can talk about these filters right now. So let's talk about membranes first. All of these 2-inch membranes are interchangeable with every one of these units. So it just comes down to which filter suits your needs. The 3 main RO membranes that we have are the GXM100. This is 100 gallons a day at about 98.5 rejection. It doesn't make a ton of water, but it makes 100 gallons a day, and it does so really cleanly. It's a good high rejection, kind of your entry-level RO membrane. Next up is a GXM150 HR. This is a super high rejection membrane, about 99% rejection, and a flow rate of 150 gallons a day. This is my go-to membrane for drinking water or aquarium use. And if you put 2 of them into an EX400 or a 400 tall or a GX400, you'll get 300 gallons a day of super high rejection water. So this is one of my favorite membranes. And then our most popular membrane, this is the one that kind of revolutionized this small RO industry, and we brought it to you. It's a GXM 200 HF. In the same form factor, we were able to squeeze enough membrane surface material to get you 200 gallons a day at 70 psi. So if you already own an EX100, you could put a 200 gallon a day membrane in it. Now you got an EX200. And that goes with the 400s as well. 2 of these membranes will give you 400 gallons a day. This is the coolest membrane we make in a 2-inch form factor, and it's just enough to fit into the housing. We packed as much membrane in there as we possibly could. Okay, that brings us to sediment filters. Now we call these 2510s because they're 2.5 inches wide and 10 inches long. So these are 2510 sizes. Now our designations go SF for sediment filter, 2510, and then the type, either PL for pleated or SP for spun. So this is a SF-2510-SP spun. Most common is a spun filter. You'll see these all over. And spun filters have a thick filter core. On this unit it's about 5/8 of an inch, almost 3/4, and it can hold a lot of dirt. Water has to move through the entire core before it gets onto the carbon filter. These are low cost, it can hold a lot of dirt, high dirt holding capacity, and it's one of my favorite filters. However, because the core is so thick, when it starts filling up with dirt, you can start to experience pressure drop. That means if you've got 60 pounds of pressure coming in the water filter, after the sediment filter, you might drop 10 or 15 pounds. And that can become an issue because now you've slowed down your membrane performance. So high dirt holding capacity, you get a little more pressure drop. Spun is a neat filter. And of course there's pleated filters. Pleated filter is different than a spun insofar that it's like a paper towel in a sense. There's no thickness to the media. Water just moves through the sheet like this. Pleateds have an advantage that there's almost no pressure drop. There's no thick media to move through. Water simply goes through the pleat into the other end and off to the carbon filter. Pleateds are great because the pressure drop is really low. So if you're already battling low water pressure and you don't want to use a pump to boost up your pressure, you can get a pleated filter and you can not worry about the pressure drop thing. Now most of our pleated filters come in a 10 micron. However, we do have this one really special filter that's 0.35 microns. This is 1/3 of a micron. This will stop almost everything in the sediment world coming through a water supply. And we use these when your feed water is really turbid and really has a lot of dirt in it. And that could be from a bad pipe out front of the building. It could be from a shallow well. There's a lot of reasons for sedimenty water. And this is a great filter to really block everything. They're a little pricey. They're more expensive than all the other sediment filters. but they are pleated and you can wash them out, and you do get a little pressure drop through them when they start getting dirty because it's such a tight filter. It takes a lot of energy to push through the paper of a 0.35 micron. So, but this is a great filter if you got sediment issues. I love them. So you got a spun, you got your pleated, and you got your super fine pleated. These are 3 sediment filters that you can choose to match your water supply and your needs. Now for the 400 tall, it's the same thing except the part number is not 2510, it's a 2520. 2.5 inches thick, 20 inches long. And those filters look like this. And these are the ones that fit in a 400 tall. Real simple. Now just as the sediment filters are sized 2510, so are these. Except these are not SF, these are CF, carbon filter. So CF-2510-CC, CF-2510-GB, and CF-2510-KDF. Now these are 3 of the main carbon filters that we have to offer as replacements for all our water filters. Certain filter systems come standard with one of each of these carbon blocks. Of course, stores can order what they want to meet their local water supply demands. And you can order them custom from us too. But you're going to see one of these 3 carbon filters in a unit when you buy it. And these are your 3 options to choose from when you need to replace them. So the CC and the GB, this white and this green carbon. Now they're virtually identical in performance. They're coconut shell based carbon filters. The green jacketed one is an eco green carbon filter, which is made from a process that is more environmentally friendly. It has way less greenhouse gas emissions through the process. That's why we carry them. But performance wise, they're identical. The GBs are a little more pricier than the CCs. They're great carbons for when you want to get rid of chlorine. They're not so effective against chloramine. And it's just a really great carbon to use for a chlorinated water supply. They're dust free, you don't have to flush them, just pop them in, turn your filter back on and go. It's a great carbon. Now the premium carbon that we offer is the KDF carbon. And it's a bed of really highly active catalytic carbon. It's a water carbon, it's the best carbon you can get on the planet, period. And then a nice thick bed of KDF 85 at the bottom, which helps reduce chloramine, hydrogen sulfide, bacteria, heavy metals. Together, these 2 components make an awesome carbon filter. These KDF 85s are essential for well water treatment. If you have chloramine in your water supply, also essential. This is the carbon filter that's going to get rid of chloramine. They're also really effective at reducing metals like iron, manganese, lead, other heavy metals, bacteria. They're antibacterial. It's just an awesome carbon filter. Now with the KDF 85 filter, you have to flush them. And you'll notice on if a filter came with a KDF 85 filter, if a filter system came with a KDF 85 filter, it's going to have this orange warning sticker on it. It's going to say this KDF carbon filter must be flushed thoroughly before feeding into a pump or a membrane. It's just a reminder that you need to flush this carbon out before the water hits a membrane. These membranes are expensive and they're sensitive instruments. And these carbons are dusty on initial startup. So you need to flush them out for about 10 to 20 gallons. And you'll see, especially if you reference the earlier videos in each filter system category, the connection and startup videos will show the flushing procedure. But you want to flush all the dust out of these carbons. So you want to disconnect the tube that feeds the membrane input, flush all the water out, and then plug it back in and go to town. But yeah, this is the premium carbon that we have to offer. Now for the 400 tall, it's the same part number designation except it's a 2520. So this would be a CF-2520-KDF, and that looks like this unit here. And the only difference is it's 20 inches long instead of 10. That's what it takes to fit into the 400 tall reverse osmosis filter. Now other than the sediments and the carbons and the membranes, we also have remineralization cartridges. These are filled with a bed of calcium and magnesium. These can put minerals back into your RO water. RO cleans the water down to almost no ppm of TDS. So it's almost pure water. And if you want to put the electrolyte back in the water, you can use a CalMag cartridge. We call them remineralizing cartridges, and that'll bring the hardness back up for taste and for electrolyte content. You can also, these come as a DI filter. You can put a DI on here. You can put, the DI filter is deionization resin, and that's great if you want to scrub the last few ppm out of the permeant stream after the membrane. The membrane is going to do a lot of the work. It's going to do most of the work. And if you have a high rejection membrane like this 150, and you get your water down from 500 ppm to 2 ppm, a DI filter will take it from 2 ppm down to 0 ppm. And that's really essential for laboratory use. That's essential if you're going to use the water for aquariums, especially saltwater aquariums where fish are really sensitive to the parts per million. So you can have remineralization, DI. You can also, a filter like this comes in an alkaline filter. You could add an alkaline stage onto a drinking water filter, which is going to bring the pH up to the water about 8, 8.5, and remineralize it too. Add some calcium, magnesium. Really popular filters for drinking water. And then the last filter upgrade we have is a UV filter. And you can see a lot more about UVs in each filter category section. There'll be a video on installing a UV. There's also UV videos in the UV section of the tech library. So that sums up all of the filter upgrade options that we have for the smaller RO systems. That's every RO system 400 gallons a day and under.